I am very disappointed with the Bullbar after waiting a few months to finally test this thing out. The concept of the Bullbar is awesome and pretty much what I was looking for. A simple bar you can lift into place and do pull-ups on. But the rest of it, such as the durability of the product, some of the materials used, as well as stability and cost and many other things are just not what I was expecting, and it really has been a huge disappointment. So with that, let's break down everything. Price I paid, what I think of the product, me using it, all that stuff in my initial testing. Now, I purchased the Bullbar back on October 8th of 2022, and at the time, it was listed on the Bullbar website for $329, and that's what my total cost was having it shipped to me. But there was some waiting time as I didn't actually receive the item until November 29th of 2022. So I did wait over a month to receive this, but maybe they had some manufacturing issues. It does say on their website now, shipping within 3 to 5 days, so things might have changed and I just maybe have got an early device, but just know I did wait quite a while to get this. And during my unboxing and ripping it open, it does exactly what it says. It comes completely pre-assembled outside the extra handles, of course, but you have everything good to go. There's no screwing in other bolts or whatnot. It's all ready for you to go. You just take it right out of the box and you can start setting it up. But do know there are additional handles you can use which allow you to do hammer pull-ups, dips, inverted rows, and push-ups. You can even do like L-sits and tricep dips if you want to, but those handles are a nice addition that they give you. And a little bonus to me, they do give you 2 yellow resistance bands, and these are used mainly for doing assisted pull-ups. So I just stood on one and did it, and it worked just fine, but just know they do give you 2, at least in my version of this device, so that you don't have to go and buy your own. I do personally have other ones, but they do give you 2. Now here are the dimensions of the Bullbar when it's fully set up. First off, it's 81.5 inches tall. The base is 56 inches by 40.5 inches. And then the distance from the dip bar's handle, so when you're holding them by your sides, is 24 inches. Now the device does weigh about 48 pounds, so not super heavy, but also not super light. It is also pretty bulky, but will fit in pretty much any standard trunk. If you just have a regular sedan, truck, or whatever, you could probably fit it in there in case you want to work out outside or take it to another location to do your workout. And according to the website, it is made of 18 gauge steel. I have no idea what that means, but it can support up to 300 pounds based on that steel rating. Now folding the device, the dimensions change to the following. First off, the length of it will be 48.5 inches, so it is a little longer, as when you fold down the top, it sticks out a little bit more. So it is a little longer overall, with a width being 13.5 inches and a height of 11 inches. But now that we have all of that out of the way, I'm going to go over my pros and cons for you, just so you can kind of get a glimpse on if this is something right for you in your home workouts. But let's start off with the pros. So my first pro is that it can support up to 300 pounds. This is pretty similar to the Iron Master pull-up bar that I have with a bench, and it's a little bit more than the cross grips when it comes to your door frame. So overall, I think 300 pounds is pretty decent, but just know if you are more than that, you probably won't be able to use this. Also, it's exactly what it said out of the box. It is a freestanding pull-up bar that comes completely assembled for you. So that's pretty awesome. Again, it is a great design overall for what I'm looking for. There are things, again, I don't like, which we'll get into, but no, it is, as advertised, a freestanding pull-up bar that's all good and ready to go. I also love that you get the handle attachments. This really does help round out everything, as you can do dips, inverted rows, push-ups, and hammer pull-ups with it, so that adds a lot more variety into what this thing can actually do besides just being a pull-up and chin-up bar, so that is really awesome to see. They're also very easy to use, and it's just an easy setup with those handles. Probably my favorite part of the device if I think about it overall. Now I am 5 feet 11 inches tall, and this bar is a good height for me. Looking in the videos, you can see that the bar is over my head, so I do have to bend my legs just a little bit, but I can fully extend my arms when doing pull-ups without my knees like touching the ground or anything, so it works perfectly for me for doing my pull-ups. And if you do follow my channel, you know I use resistance bands with things like a bar setup or even just holding the bands themselves. So this device does allow me to just put the band over the top, like the loop bands I use, and do many of the pull-down based movements, which is really cool. I could probably even do something like seated rows with it. I might have to figure out how to make it so it didn't fall on my face, but I'm sure I could figure it out by putting my feet or something on it. But just know, you can do pull-downs with resistance bands pretty easily on this device. You do have to angle yourself perpendicular to the feet, but that's a minor con in my opinion, so I take it as a pro overall. And my last pro is that you can take this about anywhere. Again, it is pretty mobile, it is bulky in size, and again, 48 pounds, so if that's an issue for you, it might not be as mobile as you'd like it, but again, it'll fit into any kind of car if you do plan on taking it from location to location. Maybe you're a trainer and you're using it one-on-one with clients, this might be a good option for you. And now we are into the disappointing section, so here are my cons regarding the Bullbar. So my first pro, and probably my biggest pet peeve of this thing, is it takes way longer and is far more annoying than I thought to actually set up. It is not something you just throw up and get ready and good to go. It does take a few minutes for you to go through all 10 of the anchors on this to make sure they are secure. And if you're using a rug like I am, it is not a good experience with the feet. You actually have to, I have to lift it up a little bit to make sure you pull the feet out. They kind of have like a interesting like slide design. So you slide it up over so it's then perpendicular, and then you slide the things back together to lock it in place. No, it's hard to describe, but just know I think if you were on a hard surface, this might be fine, but on my rug surface, it is pretty annoying to do each and every time I have to take it apart and put it back together. It's just one of those things I have not enjoyed since getting the device and using it. Now, if you are a follower of this channel, you know my closet is where I store all of my fitness equipment outside of the Renfo bike, of course, because it doesn't fit. But everything else fits in my closet. This does fit in there, but I can't put it flat on the ground. I have to stand it up on its side and lay it against either the wall or one of my other benches or equipment that's within the closet itself. My next con is those anchor points, and they are by far my least favorite thing with this design. It's not really seen in the advertising, and they make it look so quick and easy, but it's not. You are twisting and untwisting those things, trying to figure out where to lock it in place correctly. And again, I've done this like 5 or so times, maybe more now, actually setting the thing up and taking it down. And every single time, I just hate going through all 10 of them. It is the thing that makes me not want to use it. So I do hope in the future they come up with some other way to lock these in place that's just a much easier and quicker overall. Maybe they even snap in place. I don't know. Something that's better than this setup. Now, when it comes to integrity of the device, that has not gone well either. I've only had this thing for actually this is the 3rd day, but I used it for 2 days so far. And, it's not been good. I actually ended up breaking the top bar out of the side socket. So the inside has a little piece that is kind of like angled, so when you pull, it would like pull against it, but somehow when I was setting it up, it actually pulled all the way off. So I do have a picture of this where it actually came off today. So far I've done it twice, but when I was using the hammer pull-ups, it actually synced back together, which was nice, but again, I don't know when it's going to come off again, so it's something I am not happy about at all, that within 2 days, I already had the top bar technically break and come off completely. So I will definitely be returning mine just for that reason. And I'm going to say right now, I probably won't ask for a new version of this. I probably will just ask for my money back because that's just a huge, huge danger and massive disappointment for me that I've barely used it at all. I've done everything just set up the way it's supposed to be, and it ended up breaking that quickly. It could just be one of the ones I got. Maybe I just got a defective one, which is very probable. But just know I was very, very disappointed this happened, and it almost had it crash down on me and get me injured. So luckily I avoided that, but again, something that I'm really, really turned off about for this Bullbar setup, and I really hope they see this video and take that into consideration for fixing that in the future. My next con is that when doing things like dips, it is kind of a bit unstable. Pull-ups aren't too bad once you do the first couple. It stays in place pretty well, but it is pretty shaky when I do dips. Now, some of it might be me. I do dips pretty regularly, but I think it's also a little wider than normal, so you are locked into the width of that 24 inches. I can't like take them out or in. It's locked at that position, so for you, that might not be good. It might be too wide or even too narrow, depending on how big you are. So for me, I do feel it like it's a little wobbly when doing it. I can still do the dips, of course, but I'm just not as stable as I normally am when doing it with my Libre fitness bars or even the Iron Master bench that has its own dip bar on that. I feel much more stable overall. Moving on, the padding on the Bullbar is a nice thought. It's just the wrong padding in my opinion. This, I don't know why they went with this. Yes, it's nice and squishy, feels kind of nice in your hands at first, but if you start to get sweaty with this thing, it's going to be very, very slippery. I'm not big on the very squishy padding. I would rather have something a bit tougher, but with more grip on it than having it be like a foam pad that I can squish in an inch or two. So I was not happy with the foam at all. And I do think this would probably quickly deteriorate over time if you use it a lot. So I hope they did their due diligence testing how this actually works with someone who's used it for a long period of time. But for me, I know that if I got really sweaty, I'd have a hard time holding onto this bar. So I'd probably have to put gloves on at that point. But I would just have them get rid of this entirely, just focus on making a metal bar, and maybe put some type of better grip around it. Even some kind of knurling around it would be better, in my opinion, than having this kind of padding around it. It's even on the handles you put on, like the separate handles. It's on that as well. It's just everywhere. Get rid of it, swap it to something else. So for my final thoughts on the Bullbar, I am not happy at all with this. Yes, there are some pros in there, and I think some great design choices overall and how it actually functions and the concept of it. But the execution is just not there. Again, I broke it 2 days in. The padding is pretty rough. Not the most stable thing. It's okay size-wise, kind of heavy, but okay size-wise. So I've been kind of building this up in my head. Maybe I hyped it too much for myself. I was even getting my audience involved in one Amazon issue I'd had in the past where I purchased it thinking it was out, but it was actually like a scam thing on Amazon. So luckily nothing happened there. But actually getting the bar and getting the real thing off the website, I am not very thrilled with what I got in the end. And that is upsetting because I really, really want this thing to be like the next pull-up bar that I went with and used and promoted on my channel, but it's not. I'm going right back to the bench. Yes, it does cost more money, but you do also get a bench with that, by the way. So my recommendation, if you're looking for a home pull-up bar, is going to be the Iron Master Super Bench Pro, or the version 2 that they have out now, with just the pull-up bar on it. You probably don't need the dip one. I'd actually probably go with the Liebert Fitness Equalizers for the dip piece, because you also can do inverted rows. But just know, if you want pull-ups, that's what I would go with as you get a bench and a solid pull-up bar versus this that I just got. That's just been a big disappointment in the days that I've used it. Between breaking it and just all the other design pieces I've seen, it's just not been a good time with this. Luckily, it does come with a 90-day return guarantee, so I will be using that 90 days. Probably going to put it in today after making this video and having it sent out for my review. I'll probably go and send it back and look for my money back, as again, I was not thrilled and ended up breaking the device. So just because I broke it, that's why it's going back. But I probably would have sent it back anyway, just because it doesn't really fit into my home workout philosophy for what I've set up. Might work for you, but not for what I need. But to end things on a positive note, I think the design of this is pretty cool, and I do hope they can continue to make improvements. Again, like the locks, really, I feel like 10 of them, guys. Figure out a way to make this a lot easier to set up without those locks and still allow for 300 pounds. I think the design is great. If you can make it a bit lighter, that would be awesome, and maybe even a bit smaller, that would be cool. But again, there are quite a few issues, but I see the potential in this thing to be really, really awesome in the future. Just keep iterating, making it better, and we could see a really cool future product that I would love to promote if you can make some changes. So now if you'd like to see my top recommendation for a standalone pull-up bar that also includes your very own bench, the best bench I have used, click on the video on screen now to see the Iron Master Super Bench Pro.